So I'd like you to think about something. I'd like you to really ask yourself these questions. The questions that I think Plato was asking in constructing this dialogue. We know where we are now. We've got a theory of human nature and we've got a theory of justice, but it all stands on shaky ground, I would say. Look at those three questions. Why should philosophers rule? Why should they rule the city? Why would that make it a good city? Why should the rational part rule over the rest of the soul or self? Why should my reason, my thinking, be considered the most important part of me? Why not the desires, the appetitive part? Um, Plato is trying to get over, or at least Socrates is trying to get over the idea that the philosophers should rule and that the rational part should rule over the rest of the self. And I think that the last question there, what is real, is his ultimate justification for that. What is real? So, this is a metaphysical question. What constitutes the most fundamentally true and basic aspect of reality? That may seem like a rather vague and unrelated question, but it's not. And in book six, we see that he gets into the question of what is real. And that is at the end of the book with the divided line. Here is a line, and there are two divisions, let's say, of this line. The major division is here in the middle, the second vertical line. I'll try to make it bigger to show why it's more important. This middle line right here. Take that as division between what he calls the visible and the intelligible. The division of what? A division of everything that exists. The idea is that on this line is everything that exists. And in categorizing what exists, Plato makes one major distinction between what is visible, that is, what is things that you can see or touch or hear, uh, as opposed to what is intelligible, those things that you can only know through the use of your mind. Ideas, concepts. He makes two further divisions within the major division in the visible between images, shadows, images in water, images in a mirror, representations in a painting, as opposed to physical objects, the things that those images are images of. On the side of the intelligible, he talks about mathematical objects, the relationships in arithmetic and geometry, the shapes, the ideal shapes in geometry, all the sort of things that mathematics deals with. And then the forms, the ideas. And there are things like justice, the good, virtue, etc. You don't have room to do it. What is the idea of this line? The idea of this line is that this is a theory of reality. And in this theory of reality, as represented on this line, and I want you to look at this line and keep this in mind. Sorry. The farther you go to the right, the more real the things are. The farther to the left are less real. So that's the way to read this line. Um, if we start on the extreme left with images, shadows, drawings, reflections, these are the least real of things. A little more real are the physical objects in nature that these images are representations of. But then there's a huge leap in the type of things that he's talking about, because on the intelligible side, These things are not physical objects. These things are concepts, physical things. I mean, excuse me, not physical things, thinkable things. If you draw a triangle, that is a representation of what Plato would regard to be an ideal type, a concept of a triangle. If you add two and two apples together to get four, you are employing ideal things called numbers. These thinkable things, in Plato's regard, are more real. The intelligible, this is the thing that he's trying to get across, that the intelligible or thinkable things are more real than physical things. That is Plato's fundamental metaphysical thesis. Um, the world of the visible is a flux, it's a constantly changing, shallow flux. Whereas the world of thinkable things, of concepts, consists of objects which are ideal and eternal, that do not change. A physical thing like a building or a human body, it comes and goes. An intelligible thing, like the idea of the triangle or of the Pythagorean theorem, or the form of justice, what justice is, or the good, or virtue, or knowledge, whenever these general ideas that he considers the forms, these things never change and are constitute a deeper part of reality. This is absolutely crucial to see this because, uh, as I'll get into in the next video, this theory of reality is this theory of reality, what is truly real, is the ultimate argument, or the ultimate part of the argument that Socrates presents for the idea that the philosopher should rule in the city and the rational part should rule over the rest of the soul.